So in today's session, we'll talk about geographies. What we have to understand about geographies. Any task need to be performed before we start with the implementation. We'll discuss about it. Then we'll create the accounting calendar in the system, and we'll talk about currencies. Finally, we'll see chart of accounts creation. Okay. So geographies. We know, like when you talk about geographies, so when you are going to deal with the tax related process or when you are creating the locations, there definitely we have to create the addresses which will be specific to country. Based on the country structure, okay, you can maintain the predefined information in the system so that you can select the values and you can create. Okay, that's a one option. Otherwise, you may not go with the validations where you have to select the fixed data from the system, predefined data from the system. You can dynamically you can enter the state or country or county if it is that depends on country. Okay, so generally the best practice would be we'll just we'll maintain all the predefined country specific data. By following the specific country address structure. Okay, then when we are recording when we are creating the locations or when we are dealing with the tax, we'll be selecting that predefined values for the process or definitions. Okay, that's how we'll do it. For that, what is the solution we have in our application? We'll see now. So before we start with this implementation, anyway, we created implementation project. Before we start with any setup part, of course, you can go ahead and create this chart of accounts and primary ledger. But before you go on to create some locations, any location related definitions, okay, we have to complete. Okay, let me log out from this. We have to complete this geographies related task. Okay. Okay, that we'll see how to just what we have to do. So we have a user called as Samsung, which we created in yesterday's session. Now the first task that you can do before creating the implementation or implementation project or after creating the implementation project. Okay, anytime you can do it, but that should be before you go and create some setups which are related to locations. Okay, so let's go to manage geographies task. There we'll discuss about it. Okay, there is a task called as manage geographies. To access that task or function, you don't need to be part of your implementation project only. Outside of the project also you can access to the task. Here you can search for manage geographies. Okay, so this is the task, manage geographies, trading community geographies, business object. Say for example we are going to implement for US. When you are doing the project for US, what we have to do is, so that structure everything we have to activate. If any validations we have to set for geographies, that everything need to be completed. Let's see how to do it. So search with the country code or country name, then click on search. Okay, the fresh environment, what happens is, okay, you don't see these address cleansing defined, structure defined, hierarchy defined, all those you don't see in the fresh environment. Okay, here see we have a geography geocoding defined. So this is for US. Just click on that, that will be selected as a completed. But functionally you don't need to do anything. Okay, to complete this setup, just click on that, that will be completed. Even these two also will be like take action kind of with the icon. So just by default it will be like with the go to task icon only. Simply you have to click on this, then that will turn into completed. Okay, you don't do anything, just click on that, again click on. Okay, here we have a next option called as structures defined. Okay, structure defined. Here you can select what structure you require for your country. Okay, that depending on country you can select. Say for example US means I'll just go with the, okay, I'll have a country. I'll just remove this. I'll be just once again doing this. Okay, so here first I need country, say add. Under country, say we need state. Under states we'll have a county. Oh, we have I taken count here. Fine. So then I'll just remove this. We can add the values. Okay, Oracle is providing some predefined values here. Okay, you can create new also. Create and add new geography type. These all comes under geography types. When you're working in the fresh environment, you can find all predefined. Along with that, you can add the new types also. So I'll add as a country. Object geography type of already exist. Okay. County. Where is that? No, we don't see that here, right? For just as a dummy value, I'm creating US. It's saying it's already existed, but we don't see that here. Okay. And under country, we'll have a. Okay, I'm sorry. Just basically. Okay, that we are within that country only. So for country only, we are getting within that. You can select the structure as a state. You can select. It's not required. And under that, you can select county. You can select. Under that, you can select say city, and you can have a say postal code. This is how what is the structure. Okay, what are the geography types? Based on geography types, you can keep in hierarchy and you can add one by one in the sequence. Okay, then this we call as structure. Okay, this structure we have to finalize first. If apart from that, if you want to go with when you are creating the locations, when you are going to manage the tags, what are the other elements you want to take into geography types to have a specific country geography structure, you can add in this list. Done. This is what we have to do as a part of this definition. This is nothing but define. Okay, structure defined. Then here we have a hierarchy defined. Okay, here we have hierarchy defined. See here, we didn't do any action on this. That is the reason you can see just you can see as a United States. But we selected already structure. Based on the structure, if you want to get all the information, what we have to do is here we'll be having one task called as Nokia data. Okay, go to actions. Here if you click on import Nokia data, if you click on import Nokia data, within this instance, okay, there will be data already. Oracle is predefined. Okay, for almost all the countries, what are the states the country has, or wherever it's applicable, what are the counties we have, and cities and postal codes, all are predefined in the system environment. Simply what you can do is you can click on import Nokia data. Automatically system will be loading the Nokia data with the source called as Nokia to this definition. Okay, just say okay. Generally it takes some time to get loaded. Just say okay, submitted. Okay, it takes some time. Okay, after that you just will come back to this and we'll see. Okay, so that's how just you can see the you can load the Nokia data. Okay, we are not loading from outside of the system, within the system only we are trying to do it. See Australia, let's open and see any chance here it's loaded already. No, this also seems to know. It's manually added. That's all. So anyway, just what we have to basically, that's what we have to do. We have to go to actions and here import Nokia data. We have to submit. Already we submitted for US. Already we submitted for US. Once the system will load Nokia data, here you can expand this United States. Within that you can find all the states. If you expand the state, you can find all the counties. If you expand the county, you can find all the states. If you expand the state, it will find all the what are the hierarchy you selected. Accordingly you can see that. And in this case, if you are going to add new elements in this, see here, whatever Oracle is providing, okay, here when you go with this structure definition, here whatever here predefined values we have, what Oracle is providing for only those predefined geography types only, the predefined data will be available. If you are creating any additional object, in that case you should take the responsibility of adding those information under respect to geography type. Okay, this is the first task we have to perform when you start with the implementation. Okay, so this is what just we have to understand. We have to enable all those, we have to keep as a just completed, and we have to, and one more point here is once we load, then only you can do that. See here, so once you load that hierarchical information, here validation defined, this will get enabled. You can click on that, and if you want to validate, if you want to enable the validation, see with this hierarchy defined we can load the data, or else manually also you can enter the data. You can enter all the states, cities, counties, country, etc, postal codes manually you can enter, or else by with the help of source called as Nokia source you can load the data. Once you're done with that, so that if you are going to create an address, for example, so if you go and select the country as US, then all in the drop down you can find all in the field called as states, you can find all the states in the in the field called as county, you can find all the counties. You can go and select the predefined values. Okay, that option you will be getting. Okay, so otherwise even if you load, you can go ahead with the dynamic values. That all depends on validation. Here, if you go on to set validation, if you enable the validation for the structure, specific geography types, then it's a mandatory you have to select existed data only from this source, from this definition. Whatever you are loading or manually creating, that only you have to select. If you don't enable the validation, even you load, system won't force you to select the predefined values. Dynamic values you can enter, and you can proceed with the definition whatever you are doing. It may be related to tax or addresses. I have one question. In R12 only states are there, not county and cities, right? See, in the when you talk about that depends on country. Okay, that depends on country. It's not like straight away in R12. It's all about depends which country you are doing the implementation. Based on that only, that when you talk about location creation and HRMS, you have to select template, a template for specific country address style. Based on that you'll be able to access to respective geography types. That's how it works. Okay.
LAXMAN Prabhak here. One
Yeah,
question.
yeah, please.
You imported Nokia data means that someone created for Nokia project, or is it
No, no,
standard
no.
from
It's
Oracle?
standard. You see replicate C data concept in EBS, right? Which will be just
Yeah, right.
fetching and applying some basic source data for new multi-org definition. In the same way, for any country, if you are going to want, if you want to have a seeded values based on the country geography types, whatever you have as a part of the structure definition, hierarchy definition, if you run the Nokia data, it will pull the data to this country based on the values which you specified. All the data will be part of this instance only with a different source that will be just fetched and will be maintained against the country. We are selecting the country, we are submitting it. That's it. Only for that country specific data will be populated for this transaction.
Can we run for India also?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do for India also. Any country you can do it. Okay, here it's not defined. You can just click on this. It will be selected, done, and here says structure defined. Copy. No, we don't want to copy. India, just select, say state, add, say district, add city, add, say if you want, say postal code or else some other geography types if you want to have as a part of your address or taxation purpose for this country, you can do that. Once you're done with that, if you want to create new, you can create here and say save and done, close. Now it is then status you can see completed. If you go with this here, we didn't create any information, that's the reason you don't see. If you want to create something, yes, you can create from here. Okay, you can create from here, you can select country, then you can start creating. Okay, under that, so when you try to create, if you are going to create just which value you are creating, accordingly you can select here the name, you can give the data provider. It's a manual user entered, we are not going to get the source from this taxware. You can import the data, you can get the data from the taxware or vertex, from the different sources you can get it, or else within this instance also will be having the data. Okay, under that you can have you can select you can give the name and you can create. Okay, you can give some name. Here you can define what I can say. We will be covering EB tax. Yeah, EB tax as I hope you, I mean, have you gone through the course content? That is my first question, because we shared the course content to everyone. So I thought like everybody gone through and they're attending the sessions. See, in the course content, I already mentioned will be covering fusion tax. Here, e-business tax will be calling as fusion tax. I'll be covering the basic configuration, the basic transaction flow. I mean to say, like, we'll just touch that R2R flow, and then we'll create invoice in the payables. We'll see the tax calculation. That part I'll be covering, not more advanced base. Okay. So here you can enter the values and you can define this. There should be manual process. Generally, just we don't do through manual process. Always what we do is we'll go with the Nokia data concept only. Here you can go to this and you can just say import Nokia data. It's not enabling. One second. No. Okay, Nokia data is not available. The reason could be that still this product solution is not available for India. Okay, because for India the taxation and all not ready from Oracle, so that could be the reason Nokia data is not available. Even when we are practicing in this instance, also don't do your setups or configuration process India for by selecting the INR. Just do your practice also by just with the different currencies other than INR. For India, there is no solution. Okay, you cannot use this fusion financials for India. Okay, so that is the reason seems to they didn't give for India. Okay, that's all. So that's all about Nokia data, and it's all about geographies to understand. There are some questions. May yet receive the details that I have maybe requesting later since I joined only from yesterday. Yeah, sure, sure, Ramesh. We'll see that if required. Done. So this is a simple point we have to understand before you start with the implementations. You should keep ready the location, geography, types, data by following that country structure. Okay. For that we have a simple process where you have to go and enable those options. I request you all to mute your mics. Ramesh.
Uh, Lakshman sir,
Yeah, Ramesh, please.
yeah. So the download file and upload file is used for uploading the configurations, or how is it, sir? The
Yeah,
download file option.
configuration, yes. Instead of going and doing the setups within the system, you can just keep all the information. Your how many primary ledgers you want to create, how many business units you want to create. the chart of accounts, everything, calendar information, everything you can keep in the spreadsheet that you can load into the system. Automatically system will configure based on that information. Okay, those
So
are
that is
standard.
applicable overall template only. But if I want to configure geography alone separately from the spreadsheet, that I can't.
Yes, spreadsheet for that also. Geographies also you have. Geographies data also you can maintain. That's what manually creation means. You can use in the spreadsheet. Okay,
Okay, sir.
FBDI we call file based data import. There we have a geographies template. I'll show you from where you can get all those templates. At the
Okay.
time you can understand.
Okay. Since it
Yeah,
was there, download upload file, I
yeah,
can.
yeah, 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 yeah. You can keep all the information in the template that you can load. Done.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, fine. So that's all about just you can get from the other source systems or within this system instance environment. You can populate the Nokia data to respect to country, and other option is you can load that data through manual process through spreadsheets also. These are the different options are available. And before that, client just generally client will be taking the decision whether they want to go with the dynamic entry or predefined values. Always we know it's the best practice is predefined. We should not give the option where user will be entering dynamically the state and country. Definitely they'll do come up with the many issues, mistakes they'll be entering. Then that the situation will become very critical to manage. So always we'll go with the predefined values, as we know. Done. The next step, we'll see the calendar creation. Okay, to create the calendar, we have to go to implementation project. Already we are in the functional setup manager, right? So setup and maintenance, say implementation projects. Okay, then just you can click on implementation project. Okay, just give me 1 second here. Okay, done. Okay, so we have to create the accounting calendar. When I talk about EBS, okay, to set a controls which year type you are going to use in your accounting calendar and how many periods you want to define within your accounting calendar. To set those controls, what we do, we'll create the period type. Right, first we'll create the period type. Within the period type only you can specify number of periods per year and an year type, whether that is physical year or calendar year. Those information will be mentioned. By taking the period type as a part of accounting calendar, will complete the definition of accounting calendar, so that this period type will have some control on number of periods which we create in the accounting calendar. Okay, but in Fusion you no need to create any period type. Directly you can create the accounting calendar. Okay, okay, straight away you can go and create the accounting calendar. In EBS, the accounting calendar will create through manual process, or else you can just use some tools to load that calendar information to system. You can use the data loader. In the data loader sheets you can keep that information one time. You can load the same data into multiple environments as per the requirement. But in Fusion, when you talk about accounting calendar, they did good enhancement. That means you no need to create accounting calendar through manual process. You no need to load from some by using some tools. So accounting calendar definition is automated. Okay, you have to go on to give some specifications. The specifications are, say, what is the period frequency, say monthly. What would be the starting date for your accounting calendar? Okay, how many adjusting periods you require, where those are required. Okay, and what would be the period format. These kind of specifications if you provide, then automatically system will create the periods in the system. And even if you want to add periods for next year also, with a single click you can add the next year periods also. Okay, you can add the periods for future years also. That's how they given. Let's go and do it. Okay, a simple task is, we are within the project, you can search for the task called as accounting calendar. Okay, accounting calendar. Fine. See, Prabhakar, do you have any question? Okay, you're not able to hear me sometimes. Okay, 1 second. Okay, then whatever I can do from my side, I did that workaround. Hope you can hear me now. I don't see the same complaints from others. Okay, if the same issue is continuing, you have to check from your side only.
Just a couple of seconds only, Lakshman, fine, it's fine. Just
Yeah, maybe if you have that case, just you can type in the chat window, then we'll see if anything can be possible. Yeah, done. Fine. Thanks. Yeah, sometimes even I can see it's the voice is getting disconnected and again reconnecting. Sometimes that I at that time I'm stopping also when I see that. Yeah, correct. Yeah, fine. I'll take care of it. Done. So now let's see how to create the accounting calendar. Here we have a task search field. So the task name is accounting calendar. Then click on go, and the same accounting calendar can be created from three offerings, right? From three offerings, three process flows. Okay, so I'm selecting here, since we are working for financials, I'm selecting. You can select any from procurement, you can select, or fusion accounting hub you can select. Okay, from any offering you can select. Will be landing on the same page. Okay, just click on this task, manage accounting calendars. Almost all the tasks prefix you can see as a manage. Okay, done. Click on go to task icon. You can see all existing calendars. To create the new calendar, click on create. Here they given some note also, which we know very well when we are working on EBS. We cannot perform the translation for first accounting period. For that reason, we can create we can have a first period as a adjusting period. The same, just a note they are giving here. Okay, enter start date and affiliate information, and all translation cannot be run in the first defined period of the your ledger calendar. This note for the people who are not aware of it. That's all, not for everyone. So done. Anyway, we'll create our accounting calendar. Here we'll take as a Samsung. I'll say Samsung 13. Samsung accounting calendar for US. I'm going to create for US. You don't try with India. Okay, certain setups will work, but when you are working on enterprise structure, okay, there is some localization related issues. Those won't allow you to work on it. But anyway, even Oracle is not focusing on that reason. There is no solution for India. I have one question here. I don't see your name. May I know your name? When you join, please mention your name so that we can see the same.
Yeah, some issue with my system, so it gets automatically joined without name.
Fine then.
My name is Brajesh.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
So this is the statement about that translation cannot be run first period.
Yeah.
Defined period. It means I need to define calendar from past period, last year's period.
No, not
so
like
that
that.
I can do the previous transaction there.
Not like that. Not like that. You can have a first period as one adjusting period. Okay, first you can have one adjusting period. Then system will treat your actual period as a second period. Then it will allow you. That's how workaround will be using. Okay, fine done. Okay, starting date. So since we are creating for US, let's give the start date as a 1st Jan. So this is what US has as a their financial year. Start date is 1st Jan 2016. Period frequency monthly, and separated between date, month, and year. What should be the separator? Yes, hyphen we can accept, and format. What format you require? If you select this format, this is how system will take period name. Okay, we have a different formats here. You can select how you require. But this is a very standard format which generally we use. Okay, the same I'm selecting. Here we have a different options: adjusting period frequency. Okay, none in the sense no adjusting period system will create, just it will straight away it will go and create the 12 periods. And we have a different options to select. You can set option as a one set beginning of year and one set end of the year, and once mid year and one set year end. Different options we have. Apart from that, if you want to go with the other criteria number of, if you want to give, you can go with other. Then there it will be asking how many you require and all, you can set it up. Okay, let's go with this option. I'm selecting one set year end. Enough. So these are the specifications. This is the inputs we have to provide when you are creating the accounting calendar. Then simply if you click on next, it will create the accounting calendar for the entire financial year. Just click on next. Done. It created. So now just we created, we have to save it. Okay, I'm just saying save and close. Once you save and close, if you reopen, you can see the new tab here called as next year. Now you don't see anything. You are creating the first year within the calendar, so you don't find it the same moment. You have to close and reopen, then you can see that tab which will allow you to create the future years also. So this is our accounting calendar. Select it, then click on edit. Now you can see here add year. Just click on add year. It will be adding 2017 periods. Just single click. Done. It added all 2017 periods also added. Now you have to say save and close. So this is how we can create the accounting calendar. Okay, done. So once we're done with this accounting calendar, okay, what we'll do is now we'll talk about currencies. Okay, currencies. We know in EBS we have all currencies as a seeded values predefined, which you can see in the fresh environment. You don't need to create any currencies. Here also same. And other point is in EBS case all currencies by default in disabled mode. Okay, no currency you can see in the activated mode in the EBS case. So which currencies we require, those we have to enable, then we can use in the certain definitions or transaction process. Okay, but in fusion case by default all currencies are enabled. You no need to enable any currency. Only the task which you have to perform is you have to disable which currencies you don't require. That's it. Yes, it's a big task for us. Okay, but that's how they given the same, that practice you have to follow. Otherwise by default all currencies you can see as a enabled. Okay, in future Oracle may change this practice, which is very simple for them, but for now you can see everything is enabled in fresh environment. You have to go and disable one time, then rest of whatever enable, those only you can see the definitions and the process. Okay, let's navigate to that currencies page, and we'll just make sure that our currencies USD is already enabled, nobody is disabled it. So task name is currencies, manage currencies. Just I'm typing short name. Okay, search with term called as currencies. So you can just navigate from any offering. Since we're working on finance, always I'll prefer to select task which is part of financials offering. Just click on manage offerings task, sorry, manage currencies task, then click on go to task icon. So which currency you have to make sure that that is enabled. Currency code is USD. Then somebody created also. Okay. Okay. Fine. Anyway, that is a disabled mode. But anyway, we know we don't need to create any currency and all. This is the seeded value which you can see in the fresh environment. Okay, the same. If you want to create, you can create. That option is there in EBS or Fusion everywhere, but generally not required until unless there is some new country and they issued some new currency that is not exist in our environment. then only we have to create currency. Otherwise we no need to create any currency, the reality or practice purpose. Done. So we'll just make sure that it's enabled. See, you can see here it's enabled. Okay, that's what we have to verify. Okay, and generally you have to disable all other currencies, but now it's not required for us. Let's proceed. Whatever currency we have that is already enabled, we can go to the next step. Done. Now we'll create the chart of accounts. Okay, to create the chart of accounts, what we have to do is, first we have to create value sets, then say create chart of accounts structure, and then say create chart of accounts instance. Okay, when you say create chart of accounts, within that will be just dealing with some subtask called as, we'll create the segments, and we'll assign as per EBS flex fill qualifiers, right? Okay, flex fill qualifiers will be assigning, but in Fusion the name they changed to, we are not calling as flex fill qualifiers, we are calling as segment labels. This is what we have to remember. Okay, we are calling as segment labels. So now we can forget about this flex fill qualifiers in Fusion environment. So the part of chart of accounts structure creation will create the segments. So the segments will be assigning these value sets, and for segments will be assigning the segment labels. Okay, we'll assign the segment labels. Then we have to create the chart of accounts. Okay, chart of accounts structure instance. Okay, just we can call as instance. Chart of account instance. What chart of account instance all about, we'll discuss when we are defining it. Then finally we'll deploy chart of accounts. Please mute your mic, somebody's, please, thanks. So we'll deploy the chart of accounts. Okay, we'll deploy the chart of accounts. Then we can create segment values. In EBS, for segment values, we'll assign the segment qualifiers, right? The same segment qualifiers here we are calling as value attributes. Okay, so in EBS it can be 11i or release 12. We assign segment qualifiers to segment values, but segment qualifiers in Fusion we are calling as value attributes. That means we have to assign value attributes to segment values. Now you can forget about the term as a segment qualifiers. That's it. So this is what we are going to do as a part of chart of accounts definition. When you talk about chart of accounts in R12 or 11i, we'll just give the structure name. We'll get into the segments creation. First we'll create the segments. When you are creating the segment, it's not mandatory you have to create the value set field is not mandatory by default, right? It's optional. Anyway, process wise we require value set to hold some predefined values. So for that reason, general process will follow structure name, then segments, then value sets will create, value sets will assign to respective segments. Otherwise you may follow value sets will create, then only will create segments, and all any practice will work. Okay, the flexibility we have because the field is not mandatory, but in Fusion environment it's mandatory you have to create the value set. The reason is when we are creating the segments, okay, we got value set field as a mandatory. Without value set, without providing the value set, you cannot create the segments. So that is the reason it's a mandatory. First you have to create the value sets before you start with segments creation. Okay, So these are the few points we have to understand. Again, when you talk about segment labels, nothing but as per EBS, flex field qualifier, there are some changes. Even when you talk about, means they added some additional qualifiers also, the additional segment labels or say additional flex field qualifiers. Just for understanding, I'm referring EBS terms also. Okay. And value attributes, here we know we have a fixed 5. Here you can see additional segment qualifiers as nothing but value attributes as per fusion. I have one question here from someone. How we will define free value? So DFF, yes, the same concept we have here also. DFF concept we have in Fusion also. Okay, no changes to that. Okay, we have that function. Fine.
My question is in DFF, like suppose if we have to define all the values, then how we will define, like anything can be entered in that if the
Sorry.
value set is mandatory. Like suppose in the DFF value set,
Okay.
okay, so I want like user can define enter anything, like it's a comment field.
See,
Comment field.
please here, see, simple point. I'm talking about KFF, right? I'm not talking about DFF. I'm talking about KFF. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, done. So that's all about chart of accounts, just to understand. I have one more question from Karthik. Okay, how do we find out the table name in Fusion for any form? Example, can we show us how to find out the COA table from front end? No, Karthik, by default you cannot do that. If you want to do that, we have to enable separate profile options and all. In that way we can do it. However, we see in EBS case where we'll go to that help, I mean the record history, we can see that that practice is not applicable. We have a separate process. Okay, through that only we will be able to do it. I'll show you if you want to understand that. We'll see that in future sessions. Okay, we have to just enable that profile. It will be tracing and you can go and see it will be equal to something like record history. Okay, and the table where the data will get stored. And unfortunately in the Fusion environment, when you are working you never get access to database directly. Okay, only you can query the data from BI. Okay, they don't give database access to consultants or clients. But now this instance whatever you are using is on premise. Okay, so that reason we can give you the database access also. If you want to just do some kind of, if you want to write some queries and fetching and analyzing something, you can do it. We'll give the database access also. We have that just option here. Okay, done. We'll see all those. Okay, let's start creating the chart of accounts where we start with the value set creations. Okay, done. Let's get into that instance. So search for task called as chart of account. Okay, value sets, segment value sets. Say chart of accounts. Say value, nothing but value sets. Click on go. Here just drag little right. So 3 tasks are same but available from the different offerings. So let's select finance related. So manage chart of accounts value set values. Sorry, value sets. Let's do value set definition. Even from here also you can create that value sets also you can create. But let's go with the relevant task. Okay, task name is manage chart of accounts value sets. Just drag little right. So the task name is manage chart of accounts value sets. Click on go to task icon. This task panel you can just collapse. You can collapse it. Anyway, we don't require now. Done. Now here, from here you can create the value sets. Click on create. I'll give the value set as a Samsung. So I'll take prefix as the SS double S. Okay, double since code I'll go with short names and with underscores without giving any space. SS company. Okay, I'll say SS company. And modules, because in EBS case directly we'll be creating the value sets when we are within the accounting key flex field as a part of chart of account creation. Now we are not as a part of within the accounting key flex field. From outside of the accounting key flex field we are creating. So this value set you want to use in which application we have to specify. If you are directly creating in accounting key flex field, anyway accounting key flex field is part of GL. That means we are creating within the GL only, for GL only. That's how system will understand. But here, since we are creating separate tasks, we have to select. It's all for classification and filtration purpose. They are giving that option. So validation type. Say I'm selecting independent and select value data type. So I'm selecting character. So it will accept both alphanumeric and value subtype. I'm selecting test, any test it will accept. And maximum length, when you are getting the values it will be having the maximum size, right, which allows the number of characters to enter a value for the particular. I mean, let's say for in the case of company code, just say I'm giving 4. In 4 digits I can enter the company code. Done. So you can set the restrictions same as ABS, maximum, minimum, uppercase, zero fill number. Okay, all you can set it up. Anyway, I'm not selecting that, not required. Say save and close. So the company value set is created. Let's go and create few more value sets. So here say SS, say department. You can give short name. I'm writing here full. SS department. Select module as a general ledger. Validation type say independent. Okay, depends, but generally like here there is no dependency for department, so I'm selecting independent. Character value subtype say text, I'm selecting. For department also I want to go with maximum size as 4 characters. So save and close. Okay, and let's create one more value set for account. Account say SS account. Since it's a code and all, you may not write all these short name. You can write. Select module as general ledger. Select validation type. Say I'm selecting independent. Value data type is character and value subtype is text. So let's go with the 4. Generally we'll be just opting this number more than 4, 5, 6 depending on the accounts, how many they have and what is the volume of the accounts they have. Accordingly we'll select, but since it's just for practice, the 4 is enough. Save and close. Done. Okay, anyway we know like what purpose will create segments and what is the key considerations when you are creating chart of accounts. We know very well. For that reason, just what I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to create chart of the 3 segments just for practice, so that we can test all whatever we targeted with this course. Okay, 3 segments are enough. What is zero fill? This function is same as EBS. What happens zero fill 0 means I'll give 4 means maximum 4 characters I can enter. If I enable 0 fill, if I enter 1, it will be filling with zeros remaining characters. I left 3 characters, entered only 1, it will fill 0001. If I enter 10, I'm setting it as a 4. 10 means it will fill 0010. That's how it will be filling, so that you can see some unique format for the values which you are managing. That's it. Okay, done. We created value sets. Just say save and close. Now we'll go and create the structure, chart of account structure. You can see the task in the sequence only. Okay, next task is manage chart of accounts structures. Okay, click on go to task icon. Okay, click on go to task icon. So we know like chart of accounts always we can create within the accounting flex field, or you may call it as accounting key flex field. Actual name is that, but always we'll see the display name as accounting flex field. So to create the chart of account structure, okay, just go to accounting flex field. Here you can type the name, the key flex field name, accounting flex field. You type here, okay, then click on search. Now here you can see, yes, that is there as a part of general ledger application. Okay, all the information you can see. Now click on manage structures. Just click on manage structures, then click on create. Okay, we entered into accounting flex field. Okay, accounting flex field. If you want to see all existing structures with the open search, you can click, you can see all existing chart of account structures within this instance. Okay, that's all you can see in this way. Now to create the new chart of account structure, click on create. So structure code, I'm giving SS accounting flex. Name I'm giving as SS accounting flex field. I'm taking same as description. So delimiter, nothing but segment separator. In case of EBS, so in the structure definition level, you can see the segment separator, right? The same segment separator, the term they used as a delimiter. Because few of the features and terminologies they're taken from other products whatever Oracle acquired. So this delimiter is from this PeopleSoft. Okay, in the PeopleSoft you find it that way. Okay, done. Now we given the structure name and everything, we have to create the segments. To create the segments, here we have create segment function. If you want to create it, first of all you have to save whatever the inputs you given here. Just click on save. Okay, just click on save. Now you can see this is activated. Click on create. Okay, just click on create. Now here we can create the segments. The segment code I am giving as just company, and the same name system is defaulting as API name. So what is this API? You know, like API means application programming is interface. Okay, so you know, like Oracle provides some standard APIs, okay, for data movements, to transfer data, to load, or whatever the purpose. But here we have a API. When you give the segment code, automatically the same code it is taking as the API name. This can be used if required. This can be used to move this company segment data to other systems. Just to interface this data to other systems, you can use, instead of using the segment code or segment name, you can map this segment with other systems for data transfers with the API name. Okay, for in case of integrations, if you want to move the data from the Fusion application to other application, the chart of account structure based mapping you can do with the API name. So that is a purpose they given, otherwise there is no use of it. Okay, done. We'll give the segment name. Okay, segment name is a company. Same, they given many fields here to fill. Description same. I'm giving here sequence number, it's going to be first segment. See, custom API won't get created. Okay, custom API it won't be created. Just this API name means it will refer this segment only. Okay, if you are building some your custom APIs, in that case, to map this segment in that process, you can use this name. Just because of so one segment creation, it won't create APIs. Okay, just it's a reference it will be giving, that's all. Okay, done. Sequence number and prompt. Okay, how you want to see the segment display name, how the segment should get displayed when you're recording the transactions. So as a company only, what is a short prompt we require? Many fields they given which really may not be required. So anyway, let's fill it. Short prompt we given and display width. Okay, even in EBS, when you create the segment, okay, for value set level, it will give the maximum size. But whenever you create the segment, if you open the segment properties window, you have to select segment and there will be one tab called as open. If you click on that, there will be default display width, I think 20 or 30. You can see for every segment, but manually we don't enter over there in R12 or 11i. But Fusion, they are not giving any default display width. It's nothing but when you enter the company number, for that you will be writing the description, actual name. The name can be displayed in how many characters? I'm just giving 30 characters. And here you can select column name. It's nothing but which segment this is. Here also there is no change. We have 30 segments only we can create. And see here it's a mandatory. When you are creating the segment, it's a mandatory you have to select the value set, default value set. Click on search. Click on search and search for value set we given as SS company. So company segment, map this company value set to that. Done. Now for EBS, we'll assign balancing segment flexible qualifiers to company. Most of the cases, max, or else it could be something else. You may have, other than company, you may go with some other representation where you want to balance the transactions. But general practice would be company. Let's go with the same. So now there we'll assign the flexible qualifiers. Already we discussed the same flexible qualifiers concept here we call as segment labels. Okay, segment labels. So in EBS, you can just, as you have only one balancing. Of course, apart from balancing, you have secondary tracking, which we can treat as secondary balancing also. So in Fusion case, you can see three balancing labels, means three balancing flexible qualifiers. So primary balancing segment label, secondary balancing segment label, third balancing segment labels. Means within your chart of accounts, three segments level you will be able to balance the transactions as per your business requirement. But in EBS only one level, here three levels. The secondary balancing, just you think it they changed. We have in EBS secondary tracking. The secondary tracking in place they given the secondary balancing. Additionally, you can see third balancing segment. This is what you can see. The cost center we have in EBS, intercompany we have. Local usage segment is generally for localization for specific countries. Management segment we have in EBS, natural account, rest of all we have primary. We have in the place of secondary tracking they given secondary balancing and they given one additional called as third balancing segment label, or as per EBS we can call as qualifier. Okay. Now what we'll do is for company we'll assign primary balancing segment label. How to assign? Select it and you can select into this selected labels space. Done. That means this label is assigned to this segment. Done. You can say save and close. So this is how we can create the segments. Let's create two more segments since we created three value sets. Click on create and here I'll say DEP. Okay, here I'll give the name as department. Take the same as description. Within this chart of account structure sequence wise, this is going to be second segment and prompt should be same. Short prompt, I'll say DEP, and display width. When you create the department names, those department names can be created max how many characters? I'll give 30. Let it be some buffer space also. So select column name, it's going to be second segment. For department also we have value set. Select department value set. So department. Save. OK. We know for department we assign cost center, segment label. Select it. Says save and close. Now we'll create the segment for account. Since this is code, I'll give ASSC. That's all. And I'll give name as account. And take the description. Just provide the description. And sequence wise, it's going to be third segment within the structure. Give prompt, window prompt. There we call in EBS, we call as window prompt. Here just they given name as prompt. Short name. And what is the display width required? Let's go with 30 for this also. And select column name as a segment 3. You may see the segment 2 also here, but you cannot use on second. We know that one segment can be used for, okay, this segment column can be used for only one segment. Max are 30 we have. Select value set for account. SS. Search. So account. For account assign natural account segment label. Done. Then say save and close. Okay, we created out how many segments we require. If you notice here, structure level in EBS case we'll be finding different options like allow dynamic insets and all. Okay, so that option you don't see here, that we can see at structure level, sorry, instance level. We'll discuss about it. Say save and close. Okay, say save and close. The structure is created. Just click on done. Okay, it's got refreshed. You can go to implementation project, then just click on save and close. So here simply you can search with chart of accounts. Okay, next task is we have to create the structure instance, chart of account structure instances. Okay, all we have in the sequence only, we created value set and we created structure. Then we have to create structure instance. Then we'll create the values. Before that will be deploy it. Okay, before that will be deploying is equal to in EPS will freeze and will compile, right? The deployment is equal to that. Okay, this task will just do in the next session since participants are not finalized. Okay, so that's all about today's session. If any questions on today's session or previous sessions are about this course or anything, you can ask me. We'll discuss now. Any questions?
Lakshman,
Yep.
may I ask you that about for certification? Are you guys providing
No.
any term?
No. We are not providing. I cannot promise on that. If I get something, I'll be ready to share. But I'm not promising anything. Okay.
I'll call you.
Yeah, we'll talk over the phone then. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Lakshman.
Yeah. Ramesh is asking what is the course curriculum. Okay. If you're not at received, just you please mail us so that we'll be sharing. We shared with all the guys. Hope everybody is aware of the course content. So if you didn't get such kind of mail, just you send me some test mail. I'll reply to that with the course content. Okay, I'll do that. Fine, then I'll reply to that. You just given test mail in the sense I'll reply to it. Done. I'll do that. So here other question is, can you explain secondary balancing in? Yeah, we'll discuss about it. Secondary balancing or okay, or secondary we'll discuss. Okay, this secondary balancing or secondary we have in EBS as a secondary tracking. What purpose? Other than balancing, okay, what level will be balancing transactions? Say I want to know the profitability, retained earnings, or transaction which level I want to balance. Accordingly, I'll be assigning so that that level I can do. If client has a requirement, they want to know the profitability, okay, at department wise also. In that case, you can just map the secondary tracking segment flexible qualifier at department level, so that you'll get an opportunity of tracking the profitability and even the revaluation related unrealized gain and loss you can track at the department level, and other side revaluation, the CTA, cumulative translation adjustment balance also you can track in that level. Basically that secondary tracking will be used in these three cases where year closing means returned earnings and revaluation translation. The same way you can use this secondary balancing here also. Okay, and the different other levels also you can track the information. That's how you can use it.
Lakshman, yeah, I am asking about this fusion specific balancing option which has come, like a secondary level and three balancing segment we can define.
Yeah, what?
So why
It's
how it will help?
Yeah, it's very simple. See, if you map with a primary balancing for company level, you will be able to balance. Along with that, if you want to balance the transaction, and if you want to balance the transaction, and if you want to track the profitability and other aspects, how that the primary balancing or balancing segment flexible qualifier is helpful in the EBS. In the same way, other two also will be helpful. Now we got option for three segments you can manage as a balancing segments. That's it. Okay, what benefit you take out of primary balancing segment flexible qualifier in the same way? Say you have a requirement you want
Okay,
to.
if you can
Yeah,
take some example, if you can take and then show it in the instance, then it will be more clear.
see, simple. If you know in EBS, I'm just referring the EBS. Do you know balancing segment secondary balancing, how it will be useful in EBS?
Yeah, I know secondary balancing, secondary segment.
Secondary segment, wherever you assign secondary balancing segment flexible qualifier, that segment only you call as secondary balancing, right?
No, balancing means the generals gets balanced at that account level, right?
Yes.
So the debit will be equal to the credit for that segment.
Yeah. So here we have a secondary and third balancing where it is are similar to secondary tracking, where if you want to track the track the profitability, okay, profitability related information, you can map these secondary and third balancing segment labels. Simple point.
Okay, this is equivalent.
Yeah, simple point. In EBS secondary tracking segment flexible qualifier, we have the name they changed to secondary balancing, and they given one more also where you can map to other segment level. That's it. Okay, so just for tracking purpose, if you want to prepare the financial report, those levels also it will support. Otherwise, without that you cannot generate the transaction related balances, cannot be balanced those levels other than balancing segment. So that's all about those three why we have. The additional tracking is possible with those additional two balancing segment labels. Okay, any other questions? If there is any clarification, when can I call you? Yeah, just you can just call me. I request you to drop a mail for that. Any clarification, any discussions required, I'll be just available on the phone. We can have a quick discussion. Okay, if that can be replied through mail, you can mail it. I'll be replying. Otherwise, you can uh, just you can post your whatever where you need clarification, and we'll schedule and we'll connect and we'll discuss. Otherwise, you can call. You can ask in the next session. Okay, based on this session, if you need some clarification, you can ask in the next session. That's how it will be easy for us. Okay, that may be useful for others. Whatever your queries may give some information to others also. Any other questions? Okay, fine, done. Then that's all for today. We'll connect in the next weekend. Okay, thanks for attending this session. This session also I'm going to upload in YouTube. You can browse. I'll be sharing those session 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is the fourth session. Okay, max 4 sessions we can upload in YouTube. You can browse anytime. Okay, I'll be just uploading this maybe within half an hour or 1 hour. And for all the participants, I'll be sharing the 4 links once again. Okay, done. Okay, we'll see you in the next weekend. Have a good day and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshman.
Thanks.